Okay, so this is my video about how we banded our goats. We have 2 bucklings that are going to start breeding with their mom and sisters if we don't neuter them because I haven't been able to find them homes. And this is the video that was just demonetized and age restricted. So you have to be 18 or up, which I have to add, my 5-year-old daughter watched the actual process of banning the goats, okay? And 4-H kids all over the country ban their goats at her age. It's not a big deal, but apparently this is lewd and lascivious adult content for YouTube. Let's watch.
Oh, yeah, they look great. Great.
It's a week since we have banded the 2 bucklings, and according to Pam, it looks great. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, they feel like, you know what?
It feels how dry and hard they are. They'll get hard because they're dehydrating.
Oh, don't want to hurt him.
He's not hurt. I'm just
look at that. Yeah, it feels almost like modeling clay that's dry. I've gotten my kids modeling clay before. When it dries, that's how their balls feel right now.
It's drying up well. It doesn't smell. There's no nastiness around it. Nothing, no discharge, no nothing. It's textbook.
Pam says that you will know something is wrong by just the smell. If it's infected, it'll be stinky. You won't miss it, and discolored or
maybe drainage,
stuff like that.
When the blood supply's cut off, it becomes, I guess, a necropsis, and the balls will end up drying up. Once they're completely dried up, they will kind of separate themselves because of the band pulling in on it, and they'll fall off. Most of it is healed from the inside out, so you're really not going to have much open there. It'll heal up in a few days after it falls off, but you have to find it and throw it over your left shoulder towards the barn for luck.
So it's true. Balls can really shrivel up and die. Right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no blood. We were not chopping any body parts off. We were showing people who want to know, and frankly, it's a search item on YouTube. How do you band a buck? If you want healthy local food, you would want more farmers, and farmers need to know how to do this. This is just a part of life. This is not lewd content. Let's think about how many people talk about balls on YouTube, or let's talk about how, you know, we are allowing people to just be very vocal and supportive of gender transitions for very young kids and gender transition surgery for young kids. And that's promoted to the point where if you actually speak out against it, you're outcast. Like you are in the wrong thing community. If you even question the celebration around that without any allowance for questioning whether this is right or wrong. All I'm doing is showing that my goat's balls look pretty good after a week of having a band on them. So this is what it looks like if you've done it a good job. And if not, you want to know what you're looking for. Signs of smell, signs of discoloration. It's just a farming video. But it just, like, to your point, it just made me think when that happened, the hypocrisy of, like, all the, quote, adult content, because this was determined to be adult content, adult sexual acts, adult body parts. So what are we promoting on YouTube? Like, this is crazy to me that you can't show how to do an actual, like, something that people do on a farm every day. That's a regular part of farming. But the things that YouTube allows people to discuss related to neutering in other ways, like this is fine. So I just thought that was just very weird. I mean, it's not surprising to me, this kind of thing I'm used to, but it never ceases to amaze me that just the decision making. And they'll say that they're doing manual reviews, for instance, like in your particular case, they might say, oh yeah, you know what? We looked at it. Nope. I've had friends who have lost their channel. They appealed it. And within like 3 minutes, it was like, nope, we reviewed it. We did a manual review, and it definitely doesn't suit our content, our content requirements. But they clearly didn't. They didn't do a manual review. They just say that. They have these form letters that come to you. And the only way to get a hold of them is to go on Twitter and kick up dust and tell everybody to retweet your tweets at Team YouTube and tell them that they made a mistake. And if they're more nervous about public backlash from what you're saying, then they'll let you back in. But if they don't care and you're just a little person, you know, you don't have a following, then they'll just stick with their decision. And I don't know. I've gotten a lot of pushback from people who have said, you know, like, I posted the last video I got demonetized on my farm channel was about a weed that grew in our pasture. It was like 9 feet tall. And I said, like, tallest weed in the world. Like clearly it was not marijuana, was not talking about marijuana. It was a weed in our pasture. And they demonetized that as not suitable for advertisers. And when I posted about that on the other platforms, people were like, oh, it's a private company. They could do whatever they want. Okay. I think there are fair arguments about these platforms being like the town square. We won't even go into but I'll just say that I agree that a private company like YouTube gets to do what it wants. Okay. Where I take issue is that these companies simultaneously tell people that they know what's true and what's healthy and good for us to see. They make the decisions and they tell us we can just trust them. We can trust their decision making because they make decisions with real thought and with expert opinion. Trust the experts. We don't allow anybody that's not an expert to give their opinion because it's going to make a public safety issue. But they don't know what they're talking about. They didn't even, I go on a limb and say, I don't think an actual person ever even looked at my goat ball video, and to say that this is adult content is crazy to me. So the reason I post about it is not really to even say that like they don't have the right to do it, though I think there are fair arguments that maybe they have become sort of a public utility at this point and maybe they shouldn't be able to do this. But let's just say, like, that aside, I just want people to know they make the stupidest decisions about what we can see. And if you are assuming that what you're seeing on YouTube or social media is the full truth, you're very naive and you got to wake up. And I don't care what time it is. It's 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock over where Constantine is. It's 11 o'clock here. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Go to AllisonWinePromo.com. Join my wine club. You will get, should have this closer to my desk. I do this every time. Should learn better. Anyway, you will get 6 bottles of hand-selected wine, hand-selected for my palate, and you probably have a palate like mine, which is you like clean products, you like products with a good story, ones that come from, for instance, a 200-year-old vineyard, 5th-generation family farming, hand-picked grapes, all the clean farming techniques that we do here on our farm. I don't like to put a bunch of preservatives in my body. I'm not going to drink wine that's nasty, like a lot of the cheap fillers and dyes and preservatives that go into grocery store wine. Not going to drink it. I clean my house with vinegar. Why would I drink crappy wine? So go drink the wine club, join the wine club, sign up a friend if you're not a wine drinker. Again, you get shipments every 3 months. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You've got parties coming up, birthdays. It's going to be the holiday season. I hope eventually. It's so freaking hot here in Florida. So ready for winter to come back. And you'll never be empty-handed. AllisonWinePromo.com. You'll sign up for the year. You'll get a shipment every 3 months. You get 6 bottles every 3 months. You will not be empty-handed or disappointed. AllisonWinePromo.com. They're also just amazing wines on top of the fact that they're very good products. Whatever is prioritized as the information that whether it's the government or the corporations behind the government or whatever they want society to look like, they will curate content for that purpose. It's almost like social engineering. And just like thinking of my farm video, if you wanted to encourage an agrarian society where people knew how to have some kind of self-sufficiency and raise their own food, you would promote videos about how to do that instead of demonetizing them and saying that only 18 plus can see how to ban a goat. If you want a society that thinks critically about its health, you wouldn't suppress health information. If you wanted a society that thinks critically about war, you wouldn't censor information about war. But it is a social engineering project. And I think, again, the criticism I've gotten for discussing this, I don't think enough people really are aware of just how curated the content is and how skeptical you really need to be. At the end of the day, I mean, AI is probably going to replace reporters and the idea I think about farming, is that going to be what everyone's going to have to learn how to do? Because you're not going to be able to eat AI. You're still going to have to eat real food. It's like I don't know, maybe if we get the brain chips that Elon Musk is trying to implant in our heads, we'll be able to eat AI. I'm not sure. But as far as I know, you're going to have to find something real. I believe there will be a response to where we're heading with the amount of curated content, the amount of suppressed content, the amount of artificial content. I think there's going to be a reversion back to wanting more real connection with real people. And I hope that, that not just encourages people to know folks in their own community who are doing good things for their neighbors, whether that's raising food or something else, but also just to grow more skeptical about the content you're seeing on the internet. Stop divorcing your friends, your grandma, your spouse, not talking to your kids, kids who don't talk to parents over information. They think they know everything because they got it on Twitter or they got it on YouTube. Like they know everything about the government, about this guy that ran for president or that person that's running this organization. You don't know. I mean, you really don't know. There's no way to 100% know everything unless you're seeing it for yourself. And more, I hope people are starting to realize it's not, we are not being protected. I guess that's what I want to say. We are not being protected by the censorship that happens, whether YouTube has the right legally or not to do it. It's not protecting us. I just don't believe that. And I talk about it just because I want people to realize, take some responsibility in trying to learn what's going on. Don't just assume you're getting the full truth. If you have an emotional reaction to something you're seeing, it might be because they're trying to get an emotional reaction from you, because division and false information and just the information war itself, it's so thick, but it works so well because at the end of the day, people start dissolving their own ties and their own relationships. They stop caring about hearing other points of view because they have this false sense that they know what they're talking about because the internet told them. And so then we just self-isolate, we self-censor, we cut off our relationships, and we end up in our own self-imposed echo chambers. They don't even have to do it to us anymore. So I leave, that's my last final point, I guess, is like, whatever you can learn from Constantine or others who have been wiped off the internet, it's that, you really have to do your diligence to make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. You can't just assume, like, read the ingredient label. In other words, just because it says organic on the front doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because it says keto doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because the person was wiped off the internet doesn't mean they were bad for you. Just because the person was called misinformation by YouTube doesn't mean it really is. It is a massive information war that's just getting worse. And more, I think we just need to be aware of that and, take the opportunity to have real, actual lives off the internet. That's my final word.